A delivery rider speeds through traffic at midnight. The app says partner, but the reality feels closer to invisible worker. No minimum wage, no social security, no accident cover unless the company feels generous. One algorithm decides his income, ratings decides his survival, and a sudden deactivation can erase his livelihood overnight. India's gig economy promises flexibility and opportunity, yet behind the convenience of a 10-minute delivery lies a quiet labor crisis. Millions power this digital marketplace, but the law still struggles to recognize them. The question is no longer whether gig work will grow. The real question is whether workers will grow with rights or remain digital shadows. India's gig economy is expanding at breathtaking speed. From food delivery riders to ride hailing drivers, millions of workers now earn through digital platforms. According to Niti Aayog estimates, India has about 7.7 million gig workers in 2021, and the number could rise to over 23 million by 2030. This transformation reflects the broader digitalization of the economy, but it also exposes a regulatory gap. India's labor laws were designed for traditional employer employee relationships, not for algorithm managed work. The result is a fast growing workforce operating in a legal gray zone. Let us unpack three core dimensions of this issue: economic opportunity, legal ambiguity, and the emerging policy response. First, the economic opportunity. The gig economy offers flexibility and entry level employment in a country where formal jobs remain scarce. Platform based work allows individuals to earn without high educational barriers or long recruitment processes. For students, migrants, and semi skilled workers, gig platforms often serve as a quick income source. At a macro level, the gig economy supports the growth of India's digital services sector. E commerce, logistics, and urban mobility depend heavily on gig labor. For companies, this model reduces fixed labor costs and increases operational efficiency. In many ways, gig work reflects the broader shift towards a platform economy. However, economic flexibility for companies often translates into economic uncertainty for workers. Second, the legal ambiguity. Gig workers are typically classified as independent contractors rather than employees. This classification removes the obligation of firms to provide minimum wages, health insurance, provident fund contributions, or job security. Unlike traditional workers protected under labor laws, gig workers operate without guaranteed social protection. Income volatility is common because payments depend on demand fluctuations, algorithmic incentives, and ratings. Globally, this classification debate is intense. Courts in the United Kingdom and California have challenged platform companies by recognizing certain gig workers or employees entitled to labor protections. These debates highlight a central policy dilemma: how to balance innovation with worker welfare. India has taken initial steps in this direction. The Code of Social Security 2020 was the first major legislation to formally recognize gig and platform workers. It proposes social security schemes covering life and disability insurance, health benefits, and old age protection. Importantly, the law allows contributions from both the government and platform aggregators. Yet, implementation remains slow. Social security funds are still evolving, and questions persist regarding coverage, enforcement, and funding mechanisms. Without strong institutional support, the recognition of gig workers may remain symbolic. Encouragingly, some state level innovations are emerging. Rajasthan recently introduced a welfare board for gig workers along with a dedicated social security fund financed partly by platform companies. Such initiatives indicate that the regulatory framework is gradually adopting to the realities of digital labor. Looking ahead, India's challenge is not to resist the gig economy but to civilize it. A balanced framework must ensure three outcomes: portability of benefits, algorithmic transparency, and fair income standards. After all, the gig economy may be powered by technology, but its foundation is still human labor. And in any economy aspiring to inclusive growth, workers cannot remain temporary participants in permanent uncertainty.